gives me great pleasure to introduce someone I dearly love, a close friend for many, many years, Lucy Reed. Take it away, Lucy.
Thank you, Tom. I'm so happy to be here. And this is actually, this June, 25 years that, and this is part of what I'm going to talk about. So the name of this talk is From Shame to Pride, My Stuttering Journey. So first, I want to thank you all for being here. I see some friends here. Hi, everyone. So I want to give you some background. So I started stuttering when I was 2 years old. And my mother was a covert stutterer, as was my aunt, my father's sister. So stuttering is more prevalent in boys. Well, I got it genetically from 2 women on both sides of the family. So and they were both covert stutterers. So I was born in the 50s, and my parents really never talked about it with me ever. Well, my mom did a little bit as I got older, but my early years, my first memory ever was that my mother didn't like me. She thought I was bad. I was doing something bad, and I guess what I was doing was stuttering. And my brother has recently told me that I started stuttering after I came home from a doctor's appointment where I was given a shot that I came home stuttering. He's 8 years older than I am. And he said to my mom, why is she talking like that? And my mom said, I don't know. They had to hold her down and give her a shot. And so I came home stuttering. But so I was evidently stuttering, but I didn't remember it at all. My first memory of stuttering is my first day of kindergarten. I was 4 years old. I went to a Catholic school, and the kids were sitting, maybe like 4, 6 kids at a table. And the nun was going around asking each child their name. And I mean, I'm 68 years old, and I was 4. So this was 64 years ago. And I can still remember the sheer terror I felt, just absolute terror, that when the nun came up to me, not that I was going to stutter, but that the terror wasn't that she was going to see me stutter, is that it was that she was going to find out this dirty, horrible secret about me that I stuttered. So it was about my identity. And I was 4 years old. And this was my first memory of stuttering ever. So, early years in school, I remember reading, how when it's your turn coming up, you count how many kids, and we all had to stand up. And I remember just blocking just so hard that I would just practically pass out. I would block so hard. And so during those years, from kindergarten through like the 5th grade, I had no one to talk to about this. I never had speech therapy. I lived in this scary, like dark world. I guess I seem like this happy kid, but I really lived in this dark, scary world where I was like scared every day. I remember walking to school with my legs shaking. Nobody ever teased me. Everybody in my class wanted to be my friend, and I remember I couldn't understand how anyone could want to be my friend. I felt so defective. I couldn't understand why my parents loved me. I couldn't understand why my brothers loved me, why God put me on this earth. I just felt so defective and just filled with just such shame that I felt like a burden to my teachers, my nuns. The teachers I had were just so wonderful. They were just so kind and patient. My schoolmates, my friends were just wonderful. And my parents never said anything to me, never, never made it seem like, never indicated to me that I shouldn't stutter, never. It was like I didn't have any outside influences telling me I shouldn't stutter, other than the very early feelings from my mother, probably, that stuttering wasn't something I should do. But so she had told me that she stopped stuttering when she got married at 21, but I saw her tricks. Like when she answered the phone, she would like stomp her feet 3 times, stomp, and like, yeah, hello. And my brother Michael, she always called him our Michael, because it was easier for her to say our Michael than Michael. So I knew she stuttered. I knew she hid it. So I saw her shame. So I kind of picked up on her shame, and I got it. Around the 5th grade, I suddenly became pretty fluent in school. I could give reports. I didn't stutter, and the nuns were also, you don't stutter anymore. Your stuttering went away. And at home, I still stuttered. I remember just I would just get out of breath. My mother would say, "Lucy, it's like someone's chasing you." And yeah, it felt like someone was chasing me. And she would say to me, think about what she stuttered too, think about what you want to say before you say it. And then like, think about it first. And that'll help you say it. And like, I don't know. So I kind of got this feeling like, well, she stutters and she can, hide it. Why can't I? But in school, I didn't stutter. And it wasn't until recently that I realized that at like 10 years old, I became a covert stutterer in certain situations where I could hide it. All through high school, in class, I didn't stutter. My teachers never, say, I just backed up there. That was a big avoidance. I beat myself up for. Patty's laughing. I hid it when I could, and when I could hide it, I hid it really well. My high school teachers didn't have a clue. Most of the kids in high school didn't have a clue. It was just my close friends I couldn't hide it with, and my, parents. My brother's wife, they've been married 50 years. She just told him last year, she said, I never knew your sister stuttered. They've been married 50 years. She said, I've never heard your sister stutter, Yeah. So I can hide it really well in some circumstances. So anyway, my senior year of high school, I got mono and the stuttering came back. And this fear came back with it. And that just, so long story short, I chose a career working in a lab where I didn't have to talk to people. I worked with the same woman boss for 20 years, stuttered every day. We were like sisters, best friends. We never once talked about stuttering. Never ever came up. She recognized the shame I had, and she respected that. And we never, ever, ever talked about it. So at the same time I was working on my BA, I had just had an associate's degree at that time. And I was taking a lot of social science classes. One of them, I forget, but we read this book called I Never Knew I Had a Choice. And the book had such an impact on me that I began thinking about, hey, I could become a social worker, even though I stutter. This is something like I could do. Like I wanted to go on into a helping profession. Like I was gaining confidence, and so at the same time, my oldest boy began stuttering when he was 2. He was very mild. His teachers never heard him stutter. The same thing. He was around 10 and he wanted therapy. So we both began therapy at the same time. And it was during that time that I began thinking, why don't I become an SLP? I'll learn all the secrets that SLPs know about stuttering, plus I could help my son. So I applied to Temple University. I live in New Jersey near Philadelphia. I was working in Philadelphia, and so the famous professor, stuttering expert Woody Starkweather was there at the time, and I had the great fortune of being one of his students and one of his therapy clients. For the whole first year I was there, I hid from Woody. I hid from him. I was so ashamed that I stuttered that I was actually hiding from the kindest, most understanding man about stuttering in this whole world, Woody Starkweather. I hid from him. So I've told you all of this to come to this point. It was 1998, and Woody and a couple other people, I had just, so Woody told me about the StutL listserv. I had just gotten my first computer, and the StutL listserv was this online thing where people chatted about stuttering. It had begun just for researchers, I think, but then lay people who stuttered began joining it, and so I got on and joined and began chatting with people about stuttering. And I think I started chatting with Tom Sharstein, a lot of people, Bernie Weiner, Russ Hicks, probably Patty Bowman. That's where we first started chatting. And Kristen Kamela remembers a wonderful woman. She's in Alaska now. I can't think of her name. Louise Height, who was also a student with me at Temple. And so that year, the what is now the National Stuttering Association was then called the National Stuttering Project, and they were having their convention that year in Atlanta, Georgia. And so all of these people I had met on this Stuttl listserv, a lot of them were going. And so I went and I met all these people that I had already been chatting with at the convention. And those 4 days changed my life. Annie Bradbury, Michael Sugarman, and at that time, I was getting a lot of flack. My speech was very, very different then. I had not yet heard the words "it's okay to stutter," and I had been to the Hollins Institute, where I had undergone a 3-week intensive on fluency shaping. And while I was there, my speech was perfect. I got home, I couldn't talk. I went to open my mouth and I would just block. Nothing would come out. And it was time for me to start my clinical work at Temple, and my stuttering was just avoidant, just tense avoidant, I would just circumlocute. I made no sense, and my professors were giving me a lot of trouble. They were telling me that, I mean, this was back in 1998. Things have certainly changed. That if I didn't become fluent, I would become a bad reflection upon Temple, that I would never get a job. They didn't think I should be there. There were 3 female professors giving me trouble. Woody just gave me so much helpful advice. He told me a speech therapist's job is not to speak perfectly. A speech therapist's job is to help people in need and in communicative distress. And you can do that whether you stutter or not. And so yeah. A lot of your European countries, I hear that too, Jody. That you have to be fluent to become an SLP. So so I went to this conference, and one of the people I had met, who I had met online at this Stuttl listserv, was this man who passed away a few years ago from when the COVID outbreak just started. His name was Ward Harkady. And when I got home from that conference, after meeting all of these people, I was in a really, really bad place because of these professors who were giving me trouble. And I was talking to Ward one night on the phone, and I was about to quit that program. And Ward turned me around in one conversation. He said things to me like, feel the fear and do it anyway, which I had never considered. But actually, you know, as a kid who stuttered, I mean, you know, we do that every day from when we're babies. You know, we feel the fear and we do it. We don't have a choice other than to go mute and not speak. But so something I learned at that NSP convention in 1998 that I had never heard before and never considered was the word, when I read the words, "It's okay to stutter." What? It's okay to stutter? I had never even considered that before. I was 43 years old. I had spent 43 years of my life trying my hardest to not stutter, because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And when I got this message, "It's okay to stutter," it was like my whole life changed. And so I went into stuttering modification therapy with Woody, which was the fluency shaping. The goal was to speak fluently without any stuttering. The stuttering modification that I was the fluency shaping at the Hollins Institute, the goal was to speak fluently without any stuttering. The stuttering modification that I did with Woody, the goal was to stutter more easily. It's okay to stutter. And when I gave myself permission to stutter, realized it was okay to stutter, my life changed. The tension and the struggle, I mean, yeah, I still have it at times, like now, but it's nothing like it was. I mean, if somebody would ask me where I lived, I would say, well, it's that town that's after such and such a town, but before you get to here, until they would guess. What's that fragrance you're wearing? I can't think of it now. The bottle looks like this, and it's square, and it has a little ribbon, and I bought it at the mall in such or such a store, and I can't remember. And now I would just stutter and say the name of it, like it doesn't bother me now. It's just an entirely different world. Now, a lot of people, like I gained acceptance. I was able to put this into words, okay? So I felt such shame about my own stuttering, and I felt so defective. But when I went to this first conference and met all these people in person who stuttered, it was like, I feel defective, but they don't look defective to me.